messaging. Women around the world are living in fear of image based abuse. According to the UK Parliament, people think image based abuse is something that happens only to young people. However, all are affected by this, which is why we need the government to stop repackaging existing laws and trying to sell them to us as something new. Addressing to image-based abuse and privacy concerns in digital communication has become inevitable. Innovative technologies can prevent the unauthorized screenshots, recording, and even external device captures, ensuring users maintain control over their content. This session today will explore the cutting edge privacy technologies and their applications for secure messaging in various sectors and its all round various technological dimensions. I would first crave this privilege to welcome amongst us our distinguished panelists for the day. We have amongst us our galaxy of experts. I would now welcome amongst us our expert speakers for today, Mr. Chris Wesley, sir, and Mr. Damandev Sood, sir, with a bouquet. Welcome to this session, sir.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chris Presley is the founder and CEO of Justice Australia. He is an entrepreneur dedicated to leading innovations in secure messaging and privacy technology. He leads Justice with a mission to protect users from image based abuse while providing cutting edge privacy solutions for businesses and government institutions that require secure, confidential communication. Justice is a pioneering platform addressing image based abuse and privacy concerns in digital communication. Their innovative patented technology prevents unauthorized screenshots, recordings, and even external device captures, ensuring users maintain control over their content. The platform is designed for both personal use as well as high stake environments like business and government sectors, where secure and private communication is paramount. This talk today will explore the cutting edge privacy technologies and their applications for secure messaging in various sectors. We are also privileged to have amongst us Mr. Damandev Sood, sir. Sir has also started his stint as professor of practice at Chitkara University. With over 4 decades in the industry and over 2 decades in the resilience domain, Sir is a certified international and corporate trainer with over 15,000 hours of training teaching experience, achieving 100% NPS and holding over 13 copyrights. A CPD member, 2 courses of Sir are already CPD certified. The author of 6 published books on resilience, Sir has designed over 40 courses, including those for global entities like BCI, BCS, NECMA, etc. In his professional journey with corporates like TCS, Zanza, Continuity and Resilience, City Innovates, EY, HSBC, Sir has played various senior executive roles like principal consultant, group head, practice head, COO, CIO, VP, board member, program director, etc. Sir has traveled and worked in over 20 countries. An international speaker, Sir has served clients in various industry sectors like government, IT, banking, financial services, insurance, telecom, power, media, trading, etc. During his journey, he has also won multiple national and global awards and has also been inducted into the BCI Hall of Fame. As a LinkedIn invited contributor, Sir has contributed many articles so far and is a top voice in training and HR. Currently director at the one-person company DBT Training and Consultancy, Sir serves as an international resilience trainer and consultant, serving cybersecurity, operational organizational resilience, BCM, risk and crisis, and is also the chair PR and P Standing Committee IEEE Delhi section and IEEE Delhi ambassador. I welcome our experts to the session and will now request them to kindly enlighten the House. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ritika. Chris, Welcome to IEEE.
Well, thank you all for having me. Thank you so much. Thanks, Damon, for inviting me. And that was an awesome intro. Thank you guys so much. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Also, welcome to IEEE Daily Section, this platform, which is a weekly series. Every Saturday, we hold these webinars to share, spread knowledge, information, etc. Special, great, grand thanks to you, Chris, for sparing time this evening. Actually, it's quite late in Australia. It's night in Australia for you.
Mhm.
Very interesting.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I'll continue.
Great. Thank you very much. First question that comes to mind is we would like to understand from you before we go to the topic for the evening,
Absolutely.
the life of the CEO of a startup.
Yeah. Well, it's challenging. It's a mix of everything. It's exciting. It's boring. It's fun. It's horrible. It's everything in between. But at the end of the day, it all gets summed up with one word, and that's passionate. You fulfill a completely passionate life when you follow something that you've started. And, there are a lot of startups out there, but none of it, not many get to the end. But but the ones that do get to the end really, really know that the fulfillment that comes with it is unparalleled to anything else. It's it's an experience that I would honestly wish that everyone undertook at one stage of their life, even if it's just a something simple, something something just, it doesn't even have to be entrepreneurship. It can be something that you're passionate about. It can be something you've always wanted to do. Anything from entrepreneurship to mastering a dance or mastering some art. I think that when you live with passion and you live with purpose, there's no greater existence. So yes, it comes with extreme parallels, comes with some loneliness and all those other things. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't choose anything else.
Correct. Thank you very much. So you said some positive words like exciting, and you said some negative words also.
Absolutely.
But I might have missed if you didn't say, is it frustrating also at times?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
While you said one word answer is passion drives you. So passion drives you, but still, if you would like to share a little more about that, how do you then cope up with that? All those negatives that would come into the life of the CEO of a startup.
Well, to be an expert at resilience, as you would know, it's not just what you do. Like it's not just the entrepreneurship. There's so much more that needs to take place. There's you well, for me, I choose these things to keep that mindset active and positive as much as possible. So exercise is extremely important. Getting out, doing something, getting out all that frustration. A boxing bag is very good sometimes, but
Very
if it's
good.
not that,
I like that.
just a run. Yeah, anything like that is phenomenal.
Great. Thank you very much. So
No worries.
let's move towards this topic that we had kept for ourselves for this
Absolutely.
evening. The first question that comes to mind is, what inspired you to create Just Us, your company? And what specific problems are you aiming to solve in the messaging space?
Absolutely. So what inspired me was I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. When I was younger, if it was for bad or for worse. But going into getting into my 20s, I wanted to do something like very good. I wanted to do something that helped people, that actually gave people safety, security, and could potentially stop that horrible, horrible threat of now that my passion is image-based abuse. So how it all came ahead is I was in that little phase that if you're an entrepreneur, all entrepreneurs know what's that next thing. What do we want to do? And so I'm stuck. I've got all these other ideas. Some of them are great. Some of them are not good at all. But I was watching a documentary on image-based abuse, and as the intro included, I thought image-based abuse would be quite rare, only amongst young people. and wasn't that, wouldn't have that big of an impact. But as the documentary proceeded, I started to learn that it is much bigger than perceived. And it's not just the young people that this is targeting and harming. It's everyone from every walk of life. I'm talking from students to politicians to laborers to business executives to sports stars to housewives. Like it's every single demographic has been affected by this at one stage, and in a lot of cases much more than one. So continuing watching the documentary, it followed a teacher, mid-30s, Columbia University in the US, obviously a very prestigious school. And it was following her story about her breakup with her husband. And she was becoming something of herself. She was succeeding in her field beyond expectation. One of the leaders in her field at Columbia University, and the husband was more of a stay-at-home drinker, narcissistic, and so she made the right decision and left him. So a couple of weeks go past, and she's living her best life. Everything's great. She's at school. She's progressing in her career. And one day she walks into school, and everything's just off. The students, the kids are looking at her. Some are laughing. Some are like giving her little side looks. Some are pointing, and then some are just in hysterics. So she's very confused. And she walks into the classroom and is immediately called to the principal's office. She's okay, something, this is going to be explained. I'm not sure what this is. And she got asked to sit down. And the principal explained that her ex-husband has sent her private, graphic, intimate pictures to everyone at the school.
All right.
Everyone from students to teachers to the principal himself. She was horrified, rightfully so. And because of this, she lost her job. She was the victim and she lost her job. In no other crime would this be acceptable. In no other crime would the victim get punished. Yes, some victims do get ignored or excluded. Like that's horrible in itself, but I've never seen a victim get punished. And that turned, that's what sparked everything.
All right.
She was excluded from her friendship groups, fired, on the edge of homelessness, and she decided to take her own, tried to take her own life, attempted. And if it wasn't for the documentary, she would have got no coverage, nothing at all. And so that hooked me. That got my attention quite rapidly. And the documentary went on to show how many people this is happening to.
Right.
So it touched on the fact that I'll just talk about Gen Zs. It's big in every demographic, but it's 27% of Gen Zs are sending something like this at least once per month. 37% of those become victims of image-based abuse. And shockingly, 55% contemplate taking their own life. It's an epidemic. Like it's an absolute hidden phenomenon that is destroying people's lives in not just a financial, not just an emotional, not just a career-wise thing, but every single aspect, financially, emotionally, career-wise, family's been affected.
Right.
So that story there is what pushed me to create Just Us.
Correct. Thank you very much, Chris. So how does Just Us revolutionize privacy and security compared to other messaging platforms like Signal, Telegram, WhatsApp? But before you go ahead, just for your information, personally, I'm more of a WhatsApp person than Signal or Telegram. And maybe in India, just for your information, again, I do not have any facts, figures with me, but my impression is that it's more of WhatsApp than Signal and Telegram. So the question that comes to mind is, how does Justice revolutionize this space compared to other platforms?
Well, platforms like WhatsApp, Signal, even Snapchat have kind of laid the foundation. They were the first pioneers, if you will. I kind of disagree with what WhatsApp does. Their terms and conditions are horrible. But that aside, they were the pioneers. They were the wheel before the car. They were the horse before the car. And a horse is great, but it doesn't do anything near what a car can do. And that's the analogy that we use at Just Us, is they have encryption. And encryption is very, very important. Encryption, there is so much data that companies and and advertising agencies and all those types of people can grab and make huge profits of, while completely invading your privacy. So encryption is fundamentally fantastic. But when it comes to problems like image-based abuse or extortion or sextortion, or any of those things, it doesn't matter if you have CIA grade encryption. It doesn't do anything once your private message is in the hand of the receiver. Absolutely nothing. You could have spent thousands on the new most encrypted software, decentralized database, top of the line on Edward Snowden stuff you could possibly think of. But once the receiver has it, it's up to them. That's where all the power is. They can forward, they can share, they can, and in all different ways. They can screenshot it, screen record it, they can physically show people, and they can get another phone or camera to take a picture of the screen. So private messaging as it was catered for none of this. So through the inspiration of the documentary,
Okay.
these are the things that I set out to solve. So it's important to understand that if I couldn't do this, I wouldn't be here now. I wouldn't have an app. If I was just gonna make another Signal or another WhatsApp, there'd be no point. I'd be off with another idea of mine and doing it somewhere else. But we fix things that were thought to be impossible. So to your question, what sets us apart is that we're the first app on the planet to stop the receiver of any message, if it's text, video, image, or file, from screenshotting and screen recording, forwarding or copying to the phone, making copies and forwarding those, physically showing anyone else the screen, or even getting an external device, another phone, another camera, to take a picture of the screen and send it. That is what sets us apart from the foundation apps like WhatsApp and Signal. They were the cart. Cart served its purpose at its time, but it wasn't viable for the 20th century and the 21st century. It just wasn't. And that's how we see Just Us. WhatsApp, Signal, it was great, but there's so many more privacy concerns that they don't address, and that's why we exist.
Okay. Great. I understand game changer. How do you see it impacting the broader privacy and cybersecurity industry?
We'll go back to the same analogy. Just as the car was a game changer in the automobile industry, at the start, it was everyone riding their horses. And when the first car came out, everyone thought, we don't need one of those. Like, you had to have petrol stations. It's just not viable. It's not going to happen.
Right.
But obviously the need for travel, for much longer means of travel,
Right.
and efficiency and promptness and speed needed to be addressed. And that's what we are. You know, we are the 21st century of the cart. Sorry to call my competitors carts, but that's what we're doing. Like, that's what it is. So that is what completely separates us from everyone else. And just like everyone in the 18th century and early 19th century and early 20th century, they quickly understood that it's time to get a car.
So sorry to interrupt, Chris, but do you even consider them to be your competitors, the big ones?
Well, as you said, I have to treat them with respect. I have to acknowledge where they are and what they've done. Like that's not up for debate. I wouldn't be here without them. And because they definitely are competitors, because their users are our future users. It's my responsibility to create an app that is enticing enough and secure enough to get those users over to ours. So in essence, we're competing. I'm competing to get their users, they're competing to keep theirs.
Or
So
do you
I
say,
have to,
sorry, continue please, sorry.
that's okay. Yeah, I just see them as competitors. So
Or do you say that you exist because of them? There was some
yeah,
problem that they
definitely.
couldn't solve or they are not solving. That's why you came into existence.
Exactly. Like when I first heard of private messaging, I was, a very young teenager. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be super cool. Like I'm thinking James Bond-esque, stop doing what we're doing basically. And they're like, oh, it's encrypted. I'm like, oh, I guess that's okay. I guess that's cool. And then Snapchat obviously was, oh, we have an alert. So if you screenshot, you get an alarm. When I was a young teenager, that was enough to be like, okay, that's pretty damn cool. Okay, I'm gonna explore this. And teenagers, I myself, we all used it. We felt secure, we felt everything, but times change.
Right.
People get smarter with, and that's why we've got to keep adapting as well. People are going to start outsmarting us, so we need to constantly get better.
Right.
And Snapchat now isn't looked at as it was when I was a young teenager. We thought we're in, safe hands, but most of these leaks come from apps like Snapchat, WhatsApp, Signal.
Right.
They are the reason we're here, but they're honestly the reason that we're going to take over.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Chris. Moving on, what role do you think Justus, your company, what role do you think Justus could play in setting new privacy standards across industries, especially in high-stakes sectors like finance, healthcare, and government?
Absolutely. So look at all those industries. Look at how many leaks, how many billions of dollars. There was a statistic that came out last year. It was annually, companies are losing around $70 billion a year just to screenshots alone. I don't know how they came up with that number, but I think it'd be much more. When you've got, look, it's overthrown governments. Like, look at Boris Johnson in the UK. He had to step down because of a leaked WhatsApp message. Like, they are serious problems in our messaging right now. They are so vulnerable, especially in high stakes situations, because the higher the stakes, the higher the reward for the receiver to leak that thing. Do you think that the guy that leaked Boris Johnson's text messages wasn't paid or heavily rewarded? Of course he was. Like, there was incentives for him to do so. So that's what we're up against. In high stakes situations like government, journalism, big business, the stakes are so high and there's a bounty on this private information. And people are out to get that bounty. So we need to protect them, and that's what we're here to do.
All right. Thank you very much. So with the rise in cyber threats, and it's been going up across globe, live cases, almost all governments paying attention to it, in different countries, different regulations, especially from operational resilience point of view, a lot of focus on cybersecurity specifically. So with the rise in cyber threats, how does Justice address vulnerabilities that current messaging platforms fail to tackle? And our examples
Yeah.
quickly will be without demeaning, with due respect to them, Signal, Telegram, WhatsApp, etc. Snapchat is one. Yeah.
Yeah, those threats that we speak of today are screenshots. They're screen records. They're just showing competitors or people with malicious intent to screen, and obviously taking a picture of the phone with another device, camera or phone. Those are the threats. So those are what WhatsApp, Signal, and Telegram, every single one of these guys have, I had to say, failed to do. They failed to protect their users from. They are the key infiltrators. So that's the answer. That's what we bring to the table. We stop those threats. And yes, there are plenty of threats there'll be evolving threats with the rise of quantum encryption. After quantum computing, we got to get on that immediately, because once that's mainstream, encryption will mean nothing. And so that's what we see in the future. Yes, we're looking at what it is now. We're looking at stopping screenshots, screen records, all those types of things. Awesome, fantastic. That's what we're here to do. But we constantly have to have our eye on the ball. We constantly have to be looking for that next threat. We constantly have to be looking into the future. And sadly, I don't think, with all due respect, I don't think our competitors have done that. I think they've been comfortable. I think they've got a lot of users, but the users is where the power is.
Right.
You could have a gigantic phenomenon like WhatsApp, but without its users, it's useless.
Yeah.
Pointless.
That's
And so we got to look after those users, and they speak for themselves. They you build it and they will come.
Great. Thank you very much. We are roughly halfway through, Chris. So let me change gears for a moment before going into the same direction once again. You have a technology, patent technology. So maybe I would say you had idea, from idea you moved to being a technology, got it patented. How far are you from having a product out in the market?
Great question. So we're very close, actually. We'll be launching our test in Australian universities in March.
All right.
So very, very soon. But that's only going to go for 3 to 6 months, and we're going worldwide. It'll be available in India, so it's going to be everywhere. Very, very blessed and happy that this is happening. We've had support. Obviously, we're a company, so we're raising our seed round right now, and with the investors that have put in their hard-earned money, we've gotten to where we are now. So yeah, that's how close we are. It's
And you said test in March with Australian University, am I right?
Pardon?
Australian University, the test.
Yes. So we'll launch it. We'll start off. So I'm Victorian. I live in Geelong, just out of Melbourne, and so we'll start off with universities, say Deakin, RMIT, Monash. We've got connections in all of them, and we'll be launching through the students, because there's something that we need to understand as a company. Companies don't usually think using their brains.
Right.
They don't think in terms of psychology. They think, oh, we need to get this out there. We need to get it to university students. They go A plus B. Let's give it to the universities themselves. Let's
Right.
give it to the teachers. Let's give it to whoever.
Right.
That's not going to work. Like maybe with a product like ours. No, I'm just joking. But they don't listen. Like we all remember being a young adult.
Right.
Who did we listen to?
Right.
Our friends, and maybe some people we looked up to on the internet or TV or books or things like that.
Right.
Very rarely is it our teachers or our parents.
Okay.
So instead of doing the alphabetical things, like A plus B equals C, we've
Right.
gone straight to Z and gone, we want to get this done. We want to put this in the hands of the students and let them share it around. Have incentives, whatever. These are young students.
Right.
We run competitions. Whoever can get the most downloads gets, a couple $100, $1,000. Awesome. Like that's fantastic. So yeah, that's how we'll do it for our test.
Right.
But then obviously it becomes a little bit more intricate when you go overseas and
Right.
to launch public.
Okay. So universities are one of your target customers.
Oh yeah.
You have been talking to universities. You might have talked to some other people also. So the question that comes to mind is, what kind of feedback have you been receiving from either industry experts, cybersecurity experts, or someone else who maybe are your early testers?
Yeah. So my biggest, when I think of experts, obviously we've got feedback from cybersecurity experts saying it's groundbreaking. That's well and good, but I like to listen to the experts of their own lives. That's the people. People are experts in what they want. People are the experts in what they need. So that's where I listen way more intently. When I'm listening to the user, when I'm listening to the potential user, when I'm out on the streets demonstrating our app, putting it in the hands of users, they're writing surveys, I'm listening intently because we've all listened to experts at some point in time and sometimes they've been wrong. But I'll tell you what's never wrong is the customer. They're not. Like, they're not wrong in matters of taste or matters of need.
Okay.
So we listen to those experts, the ones that have been through it. Parents who can't, like, when I first put this out there, I was a little bit hesitant talking to parents. I'm like, oh, what will they think? But the experience has been nothing but welcoming. It has been met with open arms, saying that, they're going to make sure that their kids have this, because there's no point on burying our heads in the sand and no, they don't do it. They don't do it. They probably do. Like the statistics show that they probably do.
That's a good example from Australia.
Yeah.
Your head in the sand.
Your head in the sand. Exactly.
Right.
Our sand's pretty fine, so it gets in our ears and our nose, so we don't want it.
Thank you. So we understood the challenge, Chris. We also understood that perhaps no one else is working on this yet. Perhaps I'm saying, I'll come back to that a little later.
Mhm.
You're not using slides today. This evening and night for you, evening for us and night for you, late night for you. But can you please take us through some technical details?
Oh, of
So
course.
how does Justice Technology stop this unauthorized actions like screen captures,
Yes.
external device recordings, etc.?
Absolutely. It's very, very important. So for starters, obviously apps have done this before. It's nothing new with the screenshot and screen recording, just putting a signal as soon as the activation buttons on the phone have been clicked, they've been blocked, that pathway's been blocked, so stop screenshots. Another pathway is put in there to give an alert to the sender. Nothing new. Stopping. But I'll touch on obviously the two key ones. So stopping another person from viewing and stopping another phone or camera from taking a picture of the screen. It's very good that I'm talking to you on webcam instead of over the phone, because it'd be almost impossible to explain otherwise. So so how we do it is, first and foremost, is constant facial recognition and constant object recognition running through the front-facing camera at all times. It is not recording. It is not storing data. It is not doing any of that. It's just monitoring. Monitoring. Yeah. Why am I jumbling my words? It's just look. And so what it's doing is constantly monitoring. There we go. What's going on. So it has to be your face and your face only, looking at the screen, and it's around a hand length to get to these messages. So that's great. So why we do the hand length is because obviously I could open up the screen, hold it all the way out here, have a phone or camera over here, zoom in and start taking pictures. It would never see it. So because I've got a big fat head, it stops a lot of those. But then also, as you can see, there is slight angles that you can get, especially if you start turning. So on top of that, we have the gyroscope and accelerometer have been activated and calibrated to certain dimensions. So I can't start turning and giving views to, something malicious. But there are still angles. And these angles have infuriated me for the last 3 years. But we have solutions. So screen here, it's kind of hard to see because it's one pane of light. And that's what we've banked on. It's hard to see because of the pane of light. Okay. What does that mean? It means that instead of one pane of light, you see one pane, we have multiple panes, only slightly darker, slightly lighter, slightly darker, slightly lighter, all calibrated from the auto brightness feature on your phone. So it calibrates to the lightness of the room, which gives a very clear, undisrupted front-facing view of the picture, message, video, whatever, but disrupts that camera angle coming in from over the, anywhere overhead. Fantastic. But we want it to be very, 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 very secure. So this last one is optional. Those ones that we've discussed so far are pretty damn good. But as you see behind me, as we've been talking, those angles, they're there in some dimension. It's going to be very hard for them to get those, especially with our 3 structure out policy, and if one report policy, you're out. Because of our facial recognition, you can only create one profile, so you can't get kicked off and make another one. Once you're gone, you're gone. That's a huge deterrent in itself. But me being me, me being a perfectionist, well, not perfect, just obsessive. I'm like, we need to eliminate this whole thing behind us. So how do we do that? There was once a politician that said, build a wall. But so we need a wall. Fantastic. So this is optional, obviously. So so what you do is you have your backup against a solid surface, and this is where all our technology comes in. The object recognition, facial recognition, depth perception, all working together for this last one. You have to have your backup up against a non-reflective solid surface. So no windows, no mirrors, nothing like that, no tinted windows, nothing, which we can tell. And so your back has to be up to it. And the depth perception not only measures the hand width between the face and the screen, it also measures from the front of the face to that solid surface. And it will only open there. So with you having your back up against the wall, those angles have now come extremely obsolete. And that's all our technology in a bunch. And then obviously on top of this, we have the constant, so I've been talking about the facial stuff this whole time. It's the exact same principle with stopping another phone or camera taking a picture of the screen, just with AI running through the front-facing camera, seeing anything that has a camera attached to it, phone, just a camera itself, even those glasses with the little bloody lens on them. Like if we can see a lens, we cut it off. So that's a very brief go through on the technology, but yeah, that's I hope I summed it up well.
Good. Thank you very much. How soon can I see this product on my phone?
Do you live in Australia?
I'm in India.
No, for you in India, let's say by the mid to late next year.
How much
Mid to
will it
late.
cost me?
It'll be free. It'll be free
Sorry?
so it'll be free. So for the first, so the freemium is free with all the safety features.
Good,
And
good.
we also give the first 3 months of premium free as well. So you'll have full premium access for the first 3 months.
Okay.
And the only difference between the free and the premium is on the free, you get little banner ads, targeted advertising. So we have 2 types of targeted advertising. If you're willing to give it, we don't want any of your data. We don't take what they take. It's in our terms and conditions. It's very black and white, clear what we can and can't take. So we're not data harvesting and selling to advertising companies or anyone else. So either you can give us permission just to see your shopping data, but if that's too much of a breach of privacy for you, it's completely up to the consumer. They can opt to we give them a questionnaire at the start and, have things all the way from, furniture, sports, leisure, technology, all those types of stuff. You click on the types of things that you buy and they're going to be the ads that you'll see. So, and then the other option is the other difference between the free and the premium is, so for the premium, it's unlimited sends. So let's say if I have one message I need to send to a whole workplace of colleagues, I can do that, no worries on the premium. On the free, you can still do it, but it's just 2 at a time.
Okay.
So you can send to two people that same message, but if after that you got to go back, put it back in and send it, put it back in, send it, put it back in, send it. It's a huge. I didn't want to compromise on any of the safety.
All right.
We got asked to, hold back some safety features for premium users only.
Good.
Mind my French, but no, I won't swear. I'll say screw that. So that's where we can. So that's what we said. We said absolutely not. We believe that everyone deserves privacy. Doesn't matter like your social, economic background or anything. But we need to we need to keep the doors open. It's a business at the end of the day. So I came and my team came to the decision of limiting the amount of send because it still keeps you safe, still does that. But if you want that extra bit of convenience, we have the option.
Right.
And that's where you get. That's where we can make some extra money.
Okay. So by the middle of the next year, free on my phone.
Yeah, free on your phone. Yep.
How much load will it add on to my device?
How much?
What processor would I be needing on my?
Oh, just what you have. Just any up. So what? If you don't mind me asking, what phone do you have?
Samsung A25. I don't know more than that.
A25. Okay, yeah. So when did you buy it?
3 months ago.
Oh, you'll be fine. Yeah, fine. Yeah, anything in the last 8 years, fine.
8 years.
8 years on most with most devices.
You have been giving us many good news, Chris. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Where do you see Justice fitting into the larger conversation around privacy rights and cybersecurity in next 5 years?
Oh, that's big. That's big. It provides a complete mentality change.
Yeah.
Like right now, if we're sending highly confidential stuff, we're maybe writing an NDA, maybe for business. We're asking them to not use it. There's not much that we really have in terms of in terms of insurance on our privacy, but now there is. So this will be the new norm. So it's funny that you say 5 years, because when I think 5, 10, 15 years down the track, you remember, if we look back on, I hate to go back, I just love cars, so I'll use cars as an analogy again. When we look back at the 70s, 80s, 60s, all those times where you didn't have to have a seatbelt. Like, we're in 2024 now. We look back at that and think, were they insane? Like, and you could drink, drive, do so many different things and cause untold amounts of, death and, horrible stuff happening.
Yeah.
So in 5, 10, 15 years, that is going to be the exact reaction people have from when we used to send unprotected messages just by email or text or a private messaging app like WhatsApp or Signal. They'll say, "What, you sent something intimate, like with image-based DB, you sent something like that where people could just get another phone and take a picture of a screen or screenshot at any time? Are you insane?" Like, it's going to be a complete shift. That exactly the same way as we see how crazy it was to, hear about our dads talking about drinking and driving back in the day, and it was no big deal, and, wearing those seatbelts and putting all the kids in the back of a bloody ute, like a truck, like, we say ute over here. Like, we're going to look like the future generation in 10, 15, 20 years time is going to look back on what we're doing now with unprotected emails and unprotected text and messages the exact same way. They're going to think it's crazy. So that's the effect that Just Us has on the future.
Okay, good, thank you. So Chris, I've been asking many additional questions in between, but the second last of the planned questions that I have in mind: do you believe the adoption of Just Us could push other companies in the privacy technology space to innovate further?
Oh yeah,
Could be innovation positive, or do you foresee a bloodbath also?
It's business. Like at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want this to other companies to take this on. We want this safety. I don't like the word trend. People like to jump on trends. And the problem is with jumping on a trend, if you jump on the trend, you're guaranteed to be behind. The trendsetter stays up front the whole time. It's not a car race, it's a train ride. And that front carriage stays up front the whole time. And when you're too afraid to start a new trend, you're doomed to be on the back of that carriage. So we want the competition. We want more people being protected. That's why we started. We started this so people would actually be safe.
Right.
And if we can spark other companies to start trying and doing other things, at the end of the day, and we're going to mix in that business element as well. Like, I give it to myself and my team. We made this, and we've patented the stuff out of it. We've patented it. So if they want to use this, they can come ask politely. But in saying that, I welcome competition. If they can find another way around it, I'll bow my head. I will, round of applause, clap, and I'll try to be better on the next one.
Great.
Because when it comes down to competition, like this competition, it's not who can get the most points. It's not who can score the most home runs. It's not who can knock the other person out. It's how many people they can help. So when it comes down to that fight, that competition, I'm happy to lose.
Great. Thank you very much, Chris. One of the positive words that you said in the beginning in your life, the life of the CEO of a startup, was excitement.
Yeah.
That's where I would like to end with. What
Yeah.
excites you most about the potential for Justice to shape the future of the privacy and cybersecurity industry, which is part of resilience and organizational
Yeah,
resilience?
of course, of course. Well, I'll touch on the resilience stuff first. Well, to be an entrepreneur, that's all it is. It's just resilience, you know? It's gonna suck for the first little bit. But the more that resilience build up, like resilience for me is how many times you can get punched in the face and keep smiling. That's resilience. And like, because without you smiling and pushing through it, yeah, have your mental breakdown, go cry, all that type of stuff. I do it. We all do it. Like, it's not always a walk in the park. But the future of entrepreneurialism, like even the past, entrepreneurialism in itself is personified resilience. So me sharing my story, coming from, come from a different background to most entrepreneurs, that is where I see that spread of resilience. Like, because resilience is tough, resilience is hard as its core, but resilience needs that spark of hope to start it. It needs that I can do it. Like that, oh, someone else has done it. It needs that inspiration. In every art form, there's always been someone that's stepped forward and done it first. So I would love to be that person. And that's what gets me extremely excited about the future. Like it's something that VCs and most people in business generally, it's not their fault. I'm not putting shade on anyone, but well, if any entrepreneur is listening, I bet you've heard, especially when you're starting and and you're raising money, like, oh, don't you have an MVP or don't you have customers yet or something? That cost money. Like that cost money. And this is something that a lot of people in the entrepreneurial world, like in startup worlds, VCs, angel investments, that they don't understand is that we don't all come from somewhere that we can ask our parents for $300,000-400,000 or even fucking $1,000. Oh, sorry for swearing. It's and I'm not sure if I've been swearing it throughout this whole thing. If I have, I'm sorry.
Right.
But that's the case. The case is that we don't all start from a place where we can get ahead quite quickly. And if I can spark this hope in people, I hope that in the entrepreneurial industry, well, myself, I'm going to take a very big step in future funding idea stage stuff. I think that's very important. But hopefully throughout this discussion, we can see a change in the business world to get VCs more open to, people that, tradesmen, laborers. These are the guys with the ideas. Like, it's the amount of top executives and stuff that say they've got this new idea. 9 times out of 10, when I talk to a tradesperson that's got an idea about a new drill bit that's going to be way better and smarter and does this and does that, it's 10 times better than the other, than the one from the executive. And that's so much potential lost because the business atmosphere as it is right now, that person isn't being looked at, isn't being listened to. They're not heard, and they go into a networking event or something with suits, ties, people talking at with long acronyms and things like that. I say screw that. Like, fuck that. Sorry to say, but like it's so hard. But if we can change that, oh, it's a minefield. It's a minefield of absolute innovation. If whatever country does it first, and mark my words, whatever country gets their head out of their ass and actually listens to these people and starts investing in these people, They're going to be the world leaders in innovation.
Right.
So that's the resilience part. For Just Us privacy, the future, what makes me excited is everyone using it. Like honestly, it sounds corny, but like I'm looking forward to the day that a parent comes up to me and goes, "Thank you. If it wasn't for your app, this or this or this would have happened." Or
I like that.
yeah, like that's like, or just knowing that people are safe from these. Like, let's be real about this. These vindictive assholes that are out there. There's millions of them, like billions, like well, maybe not billions, but there's hundreds of millions of them that spread this defamatory, almost evil, uh, shame on these people. And so that, like, combating that is another thing that,
Right.
gets me really bloody excited. So on a business front, I want to see more openness to innovation, even from, people that, might swear every 2 seconds, or, might come into a business meeting with a hole in their pants and ripping their jeans. That's what I want on the business front for
Right.
my trend. But on Just Us, I wanted to see everyone use it. I want to see everyone say, like, it sounds corny again, but I'd fucking love to be that person that made everyone safe.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Chris. In all my talks, I always have to request extra 10-15 minutes from Dr. Ritika. But today, this evening, tonight, it's touching midnight for you, I guess. So
Yeah. Oh no, it's past midnight now. It's 12:30.
I'm attempting to close in time, right on the dot. Thank you very much
Awesome.
once again. And I hand it over back to Dr. Ritika. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the enlightening deliberation. I'm sure this insightful session has enlightened the participants about the real scenario, and I think it's actually very interesting hearing about the solution that Justus is providing. Just one single questions by the participant, which I found very interesting. So I would like to take up now with your permission.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So we have a question. How big a threat can be quantum, and how costly would it to be overcome?
Oh, I can't answer that, to be honest. But what I can answer is that it's going to be a big threat. It's going to be the next thing. There are companies. I know companies right now that are working on it. Startups that have actually created quantum encryption. So when quantum encryption takes over, just like the analogy before with the cart and the wheel, the cart and the car. Sorry, that's going to be that evolution. So like just how we've gone from private messaging like WhatsApp and everything to what we've done, quantum encryption will be very we'll tackle those problems. But yes, it will make normal encryption as we see it today obsolete, but it's not as dire. Like it can be quite easily adapted. It can be quite easily used and put into place. So not a huge threat if we take the proper precautions of going from tackling quantum data breaches with quantum encryption. It's not going to be big, like a big problem at all. But we need to do something about it so it isn't that big problem.
Absolutely, very rightly said. And with that, I think we come to an end to this wonderful session with a bright hope that by mid of next year, we would all in India also get the facility to use Justus and ensure our privacy.
So thank you so much for this wonderful session, Chris, and thank you so much for making time out of your schedule. It's already past midnight, but thank you so much for being here with us in the session. And we would not end the session without a thank you note. Professor Huda would have been here today, but he was busy in an immediate meeting. So, sir could not be present over here. So, we would now present a small e memento to Chris
Oh, wow.
for being part of the session. Thank you so much.
Well,
And
thank you.
also an e memento to Daman, sir.
Pardon?
Uh, We have a e-memento for Daman sir as well. Thank you,
Thank you
Daman
very
sir.
much.
It's awesome.
And we also
A
have a
lot of
small
applaud for Chris. Yeah. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
and a certificate, again an e-certificate for Chris as
Thank you.
well as Daman sir. Thank you so much for making this session possible today. And it was wonderful to know that, yes, around the corner, we have a solution that can protect us from this kind of image based scams and everything. So,
Absolutely.
thank you so much for this wonderful session today.
No
Thank you
worries at
so
all.
much.
If anyone has any questions or anyone wants to reach out, my LinkedIn is Chris Fressel, just as my name's been, down here. So, or just reach out to Damon or anyone around here if they want to get in contact, learn more. Always very happy to entertain that conversation and go from there. So, yeah. And again, thanks so much for having me. It's a privilege. It's great with what you guys are doing. Just in my field, this needs to be talked about a lot more. And we've got 74 attendees here, 82 participants. That's awesome. Like this, each one of these people have 10 friends, and we'll be talking about this type of stuff, and that multiplies and multiplies, multiplies. That's what we need. We need to make this mainstream. So again, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for the platform.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
so much. Thank you so much, Chris, and thank you so much, Daman sir. Thank you
Can
so
you
much
take your
for.
leave now, Dr. Itika?
Sure, sir. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you very much.
Uh,
Bye-bye, everyone. Bye,
Thanks, yeah.
Chris.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. So, dear participants, with this, we have come to an end to this wonderful session today. Feedback form link for the same has already been shared in the chat window. I request all participants to kindly fill in the same. Please fill in your details carefully and do not make any mistakes, because any mistakes you make, they directly go into your certificate. So please do not make any mistakes. Feedback form link is already there in the chat window, dear participants. I am sharing it once again. So, dear participants, I am once again sharing the feedback form link for today's session. Please click on the same. It's already there in the chat window, dear participants. Feedback form link is already shared in the chat window. Please click on the same, fill in your details, and submit the same. Subramaniam sir has also joined us. Good evening, sir. Welcome to the session. Dear participants, feedback form link for today's session is already there in the chat window. Please click on the same. Dear participants, feedback form link has already been shared in the chat window. Please click on the same, fill in your details, and submit the same to generate your certificate of participation. Dear participants, feedback form link is already being shared in the chat window. Please click on the same, fill in your details carefully and submit the same to generate your certificate of participation. Over 50 certificates have already been successfully generated. Kindly stay in this meeting room till the time you don't receive your certificate of participation in your inbox. Once you receive your certificate in your inbox, you're most welcome to leave the meeting room. Our next webinar is planned on 30th November. We hope you will all join us. I request all the remaining participants, please click on the feedback form link. It's already shared in the chat window. Once you receive your certificate of participation in your inbox after you submit the feedback form, you're most welcome to leave this meeting room with a promise to join us back on 30th November with our next webinar. I have last 42 participants left. I hope they all have submitted the feedback form and are only waiting for their certificate of participation.